Hi everyone, I'm Ronit from the East Coast, and Kate is still on vacation. So, as last episode, we have Dannah here, my daughter, subbing for her. We are
Hi.
hopelessly unedited. That's Rococo, her lovely cat, my grand cat. So hi everyone. Oh, you are so cute, Rococo. This is part two of Dannah's experience in the UK going to grad school in University of Manchester. So if you tune into this episode, you want to know what's the first part, you have to go back one episode to see what we discussed. But this episode, we're going to focus on something a little bit fun because, we talked a lot about the logistics moving to UK and, her decisions and what shocked her, roommates, her accommodation, and things like that. So this time, we're going to talk a little bit about more in general living abroad in the UK. So, all right. I remember you told me, and I know this, that it's not that you did not pick up a British accent when you were there. Um, but people in Manchester, they're kind of mid north, so they speak a little differently. They have their own accent, so you didn't pick up
hmm
the accent. But shortly after you got there, I talked to you on the phone and things like that, and I felt like you talked a little funny. Like you started calling me mom and things like that. So as for the languages, and I felt like you just picked up slangs and words that is used
hmm
in the UK. It's still English. So let me. One thing that is stuck in my mind was in the US when you see someone a little lost, you say, "Can I help you?" So what do they say to you in Manchester? Do you remember
Are you
that?
all right? Are you all right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's
Even
this.
if you're not lost, like you walk into a store and they're like, "Are you all right?" and you're just like, "Huh? Yeah, I'm fine." They
That
don't
to them
actually. Yeah. Well, so the first couple
the
times I was
first
like,
time.
"I'm okay." Like, no, the first few times before I realized that everyone said it and that it was rhetorical. It's basically like their version of saying hello.
Are you all right?
Yeah, just
You just say,
are
"Are
you
you
all
all
right?
right? Hello? Are
Yeah.
you all right?"
And then the it clicked in my brain when I watched two people from the UK in a grocery store. It was, "Are you all right?" A look, no response, both of them, complete no acknowledgement. And I was like, "Okay, it's just like what you say to acknowledge someone's presence. It's just a hello."
Do you know if that's a Manchester thing or is it pretty common in the UK at the time?
I did not hear it anywhere else except for Manchester. I mean,
Huh.
maybe they say it other places, but I've because I had been to London before that, and I went
Hmm.
all over the UK when I lived in Manchester. I'd never heard it anywhere else. Not even in Liverpool, which is close by.
Okay. Okay. So, is there any other slang that is different that you picked up and you still use today?
I mean, there are a lot, and I still use them because I actually have British coworkers. Three of my
Mm.
coworkers right now are from the UK. And so I will use certain British words just because they're from the UK, they understand it better. Um, Things I'll say bin instead of trash can, or I've instead of saying
That's a convenient
candy,
word, though. That's a very convenient word. The bin.
the bin.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, it is
convenient. Rather than,
shorter.
oh, it's a trash
Um,
can.
Instead of saying candy, I'll say sweets.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
would you like some
what else?
sweets?
Yeah, what else?
You still call me mom sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like it's actually kind of interesting because I just went to Hong Kong with one of my coworkers from Canada, and she was saying how sometimes when I pronounce things, it kind of sounds like, you know how some Hong Kong people have a weird half British, half American accent? She said she
Or
can
half
hear that.
Chinese.
Well, so she said she can hear that when I speak sometimes, and she was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." It's actually kind of funny because on the Hong Kong Express flight, I swear the English announcer sounds just like you. Maybe like slightly more British than you are right now, but it was weirding me out. I was like, "That's my mother's voice." I don't like that.
The tone of it.
Literally the tone, like how high your voice is, how you say words, the cadence of a sentence
Yeah.
of where you will pause. It was exactly the same. I was like, did they steal my mother's voice? What is happening?
It's
I
AI.
even recorded it so that I
You
can show you
did.
later. I did.
Oh,
I
good. You
recorded
gotta
it.
play it. Well, it could have been so I assume the flight attendant's probably from Hong Kong, maybe?
No, no,
It's
it's
maybe the
pre-recorded.
Cantonese or
It's pre-recorded.
oh,
So
okay.
it's like
That's
when
weird.
they're no, no, it's when they're doing the safety check
Mm-hmm.
with this is how
It's
you
the
do the
video.
seatbelt, blah blah blah. Well, so on Hong Kong Express they don't have videos. They just play the audio and the
Okay.
stewardess will stand there and do it while it's playing. But it's the same audio. But I'm like, whoever recorded that is my mother. That is my mother. I'm like, did you record that?
I moonlight. They liked our podcast so much they contacted me. So I moonlight and record. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not me.
I don't know,
It's not
man.
me.
It sounded just like you. It was so weird to me. Anyways, where was
Well,
I? Oh
you
yeah.
guys go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, I think that obviously growing up with you as our mom, you do have some British isms where you'll pronounce things like a British person, or you'll say
Like
words that,
BORROW.
yeah, borrow instead of
Borrow.
borrow. Yeah, I
Borrow.
can't even say it.
How do
I
you
can't even
say
say
it?
how you say it.
But how do
Borrow.
you say it?
Borrow.
Why bow? It's
Because
ball.
that's how Americans say it, ma. Okay, anyways. But also daily life things that there are certain things that you have said that I know that I can't think of one right now, but there are things that you say that British people say that Americans don't say.
A jumper.
Yeah, like jumper. If you say jumper, most Americans are what's that? But I always knew that's a sweater because you say
Your
that.
stepdad said that's not a word.
Yeah. Well, so that's another thing is I will always call it a sweater, but with my British coworkers, I will refer to it as a jumper to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So still
it's
keep some
things
of
like
those.
that.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
it's more when I'm with people from the UK, I will use them, but when I'm with Americans, I won't because I know that there's a certain level of difference in understanding. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um,
anyways,
is there a word that American says that you think the British one is better, that makes more sense?
honestly, I don't know. Cause I just cause you asked me this question, and literally today, my coworkers. So I got a little Hello Kitty keychain from the claw machine, and it had an inner tube, and I was like, "Oh, she has like an inner tube," and they were like, "An inner tube? What's that?" And I'm, the tube? They're like, "Why inner?" And I'm like, "Cause you're in the tube," and they were like, you mean a rubber tube? And I'm like, why do you call it rubber if it's plastic? And then one of my coworkers goes, rubber and plastic are the same. And I'm like, no, they're not. Rubber comes from a tree. Plastic is man made. And then we just had a moment where we are like, huh? So we had to look up where the word came from and all that. So in instances like that, I don't think the British word is better. But again, for the bin, the trash bin, like just saying bin instead of trash can or garbage can is much easier, you know?
Okay, so talking about that, so there's one word that is just so diverse. So we call it, the bathroom. And in UK it's like toilet, the loo,
Yep.
and then
In
washroom is the
Canada,
Canadian
but
washroom.
also, I noticed in Hong Kong, all of the signs say washroom. And so when I was in Hong Kong, the coworker I went with is Canadian. So she asked me, oh, I keep saying washroom. Do they say washroom in the US? No, they say the bathroom or the restroom. But
Yeah.
people usually refer to it as the bathroom. And she was like, oh, that's so interesting. Because I think my UK coworkers also say restroom or they'll say bathroom. But I think they say bathroom because we teach the kids to say, teacher, can I go to the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we're teaching an
Yeah.
American English curriculum. So they do say bathroom, but I think that has more to do with the high frequency usage in our daily work life.
Well, growing up in Hong Kong, I always learn say, "Oh, going to the toilet," and I didn't know the toilet was actually the throne. You know,
Yeah, I was
and then going to the
actually
loo, that was very common too.
I was gonna say, I think I hear my British coworkers say, I'm going to the toilet or I was in the
Hmm.
toilet. I think they do say that. However, whenever one of my students
Well,
says
you're
that,
on the
I'm like,
toilet. If you're in the
no.
toilet, you're in
So
trouble.
whenever they say that, I go, you're in the toilet, in the water? Are
Getting
your feet
flushed.
wet? And then they all laugh and they're, haha, no teacher, I was in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay. So
Okay, so talking about bathroom, I'm sorry. I just have this thing about bathroom thing. I gotta discuss this with you. Why is it called restroom? Who would go into the bathroom and take a nap? Why do you rest in there?
well,
I know some like nice bathroom they have like a bench, but
but
you
like
know,
resting doesn't always mean nap. Resting can just be you're sitting down. So you're
sitting on the
sitting down in the
throne.
toilet. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Some people sit for a long time. Maybe they
Like,
have
doesn't
maybe
your
they have diarrhea, mom. They have to sit.
no, my
Sorry.
legs go numb. If I sit on it for too long, my legs go numb. Like, cause sometimes you bring your phone in there, you start scrolling Instagram or whatever, or reading an article, then my legs go numb.
Now I'm
You
like, why
know?
is it even called the restroom?
Yeah. Why is it even called a restroom? Because that's the last thing I think that I would rest in there. Like
Okay,
sometimes you might be. Did you say anything?
let's
Did you
see.
find something?
Yeah, so if you ever want to know the origin of the word, you need to look up the etymology because etymology is the study of
Teach
the
me
evolution
the
of
root.
words.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
so it'll teach you what language family it comes from, what word it stems from, how does it transfer this way? Is it a
It's like
social
spelling
transfer?
bee.
Yeah. So basically the term restroom originates in America from the late 19th century. So it was coined by merchants and public building managers to describe a space that originally included seating and sofa and lounges where they could relax attached to the toilet facilities. Okay, so if you think about an old timey movie set in the 20s and the girls go to powder their noses, they go in, there's that big circular couch with mirrors
Mm-hmm.
all around, and then they go into another room to use the toilet. So that circular room where they would powder their noses, that was the resting part of the restroom.
Well, it makes
So
sense these
it's an
days
American term.
because yeah, it makes sense these days because ventilation is better. You have the odorizer. I can just, oh my God, imagine they're powdering their nose. They could probably like smell the toilet. It's
Cuz
disgusting.
also if you think about it, I don't think I've ever seen couches or chairs or anything in restrooms other than in the US. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
when
I
you go to
mean,
like a
remember my
fancy
college has some at BYU in Provo.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
at
But
yeah, they have like a
But that's what I'm saying.
fainting
Like, even at
couch,
department
whatever.
stores in the US, at department
Yeah,
stores, they'll have a separate
elsewhere have
area.
it.
Yeah, that's you can sit on the couch, but it's meant for mothers if you're waiting for your child or something. But I don't think anywhere else I've been in the world I've ever seen a couch in a bathroom like that. You know what I mean? The closest that I saw
Yeah.
was in Japan. They had like a separate area where they had vanity mirrors with plugs to put your stuff, but that was it.
I don't know whose idea it is, especially back then. As I said, it's gotta stink. I wouldn't want to be close to the toilet
But
and
yeah,
rest. It just
especially
makes
because
no
like
sense.
if you think of it, like the concept of modern day sewage wasn't like a
Mm,
thing up until I don't know the 1920s into the 30s. So even in the
right.
early 1900s and the 1800s, they were just collecting everyone's shit and then throwing it out in the street. So no, but maybe that's why the concept of a restroom came to be because of modern day plumbing. Do you know what I mean?
I
But it still
guess.
probably
I guess.
smelled bad because the plumbing wasn't amazing.
Right, right. Yeah, that's why I don't know whose brilliant idea that they think. Well, it could be because if you are wearing these corset, you're fainting, you sit there and you're close to water source, so you could,
Well, I mean, yeah, but like women stopped wearing corsets in the 1920s. And the restroom
And
started, in the 19th
30s.
century, so the 1800s.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, I think
women were still
corset
wearing corsets.
is,
They were still fainting.
ugh, for heaven's sakes. All right. So one of your mother's favorite movies. It's so
Mean
weird.
Girls.
Your mother. I'm right here. One of my favorite movie
I tell that to all
is
my friends all the time. She loves Mean Girls.
no, the other one.
Miss Congeniality,
Brewster.
Legally Blonde.
Brewster. Legally
Legally
Blonde.
Blonde. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember? They have orientation that Elle
They're sitting in
introduced
the circle.
Brewster. Yep.
They're
So
like,
in UK,
introduce yourself. I'm Elle Woods.
Yep.
And this is Brewster.
Yeah, exactly. So in the UK, did they have an orientation, like an official orientation when you went there, as a grad student?
Not really.
Because like Legally
Not
Blonde
really.
is law school, practically is grad school, right?
No, I literally just showed up to my first class, and in our first class we had introductions, and then we went over the syllabus.
Introductions of what?
Just like,
Introduction of the
I'm so and
cohorts?
so from. Yeah, it was like summer camp. You just said your name, where you were from, what your undergrad degree was, and then we talked about the syllabus. It was literally just like summer camp. Like it wasn't. Yeah, I feel like in the U.S. because thinking back on what Jessie said about her grad school,
Jessie is your sister, by the way. It's your sister, my older daughter.
I know she's my sister.
People don't.
I know, but you said that as if like I didn't know who she is.
Well,
anyways,
sometimes I address myself as your mother.
That's true.
And I'm right here, so.
What was I saying? Oh, she said there was a semi-orientation. I think in the UK they're much more relaxed. I never called any of my professors by their last name. I called all of them by their first name, and that's what they preferred. And now that I'm saying this, I do remember we did have at the end of the first week we did have I think this is
cocktail.
Regular in the we had a cocktail hour where there was wine and cheese.
Free booze?
And I think that's regular for UK schools though, because talking to my British coworkers, they talk about stuff like that happening in their programs too. And I'm like, okay, so that's a normal thing they do in the UK in university.
Wait, was it also a master's program or was it undergrad?
Undergrad.
Oh, you know what? Definitely. All y'all out there, go to UK. Free brews every week. Oh my God.
Not every week, just orientation week. And it was put on by the department. But we did have a bar on campus. That's a very UK thing to have. But again, in the UK, you can drink when you're 16. So
wait, is it expensive, the bar, or kind of relatively cheaper than?
Well, okay. Oh. So I went to school in Manchester, which is considered the party city of the UK. I didn't know this, but apparently university students from other cities who are near will go to Manchester. Even people from London will go party in Manchester. I didn't know this.
That's like an hour away, no?
Yeah, so they'll take the bus.
Okay.
But I didn't know this.
That's committed.
But there are like
that's commitment to party.
I know, right? No, UK girls are the hardest partiers I've ever. US girls. How do I explain this? Okay, US girls at the bar, they're partiers, right? Cool, great. But a UK girl, it will be snow on the ground, freezing cold. A UK girl is, I'm going to go to the bar to party wearing nothing but a tiny tank top and a mini skirt. And I'm not going to be cold. I'm not going to wear a coat. And you're just like, that is dedication right there.
There's no coat check. They could wear a coat and go in and check the coat.
No. Literally, okay, there is a saying that I learned from a UK party girl, and it is, a whore is never cold. Or in her words, a hoe is never cold. So like, never saw a UK girl go to a club in a coat ever. Never.
Oh, wow. How about that? Well, that's commitment.
It was
good for them.
It was crazy to me. I can literally see my breath. How are you wearing nothing literally only covering the bits. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Okay, well, that's good. Good to know. Because I always just imagine just like Legally Blonde, but in UK, rather than sitting on the grass in a circle, you'll be in this beautiful library building around this dark mahogany. What sound like Harry Potter,
No, literally,
desk or
literally,
table.
literally. We were in the social studies department, which was just like a conference room, like a conference room. Like imagine that with nasty lighting, and then everyone drinking wine and eating cheese. That's what it
Well,
was.
is it like that space that we went to your graduation? At the end, we were
No,
kind
no,
of
no, no. That was like a nice place,
different.
mom. It was. It's like
Oh,
literally imagine a corporate boardroom. That was the room that it was in.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so with the program, you had classes, and I remember you came home and you wrote your thesis. So you didn't need to defend it or anything, right? There's no defending your thesis. You just turn it in.
No, so in the UK it's different. When you're writing the thesis, you do have an advisor who will advise you on, oh, well, you could do this or you could write this. My advisor was not very helpful. But then again, I was writing about Asian American representation and he was a white Frenchman. So his comments to me were, that sounds good. I don't really understand it, but it sounds good. And I was like, okay, great. So then after you write it and you turn it in, it gets read by your advisor and it gets read by a panel of professors in the department, and then they all rank it out of a certain number, and then they average the scores out of 100, and then whatever your score is, I think it was you had to get 60 to pass.
Okay.
um
Um, so
and
do you,
it's pass fail. It's not ABC. You don't get any letter grades. Every grade for, well, at least in my program, every grade for every class, for your thesis, for every essay you wrote was just pass or fail, like
do you get
percentage.
to do a do-over if you fail your thesis? How many times can you do over?
Yeah, so if you fail, I do know there were a couple of people in my program who didn't pass or graduate. I'm
The
pretty
first
sure
time?
only 10 of us graduated the first time out of
Oh, wow. Oh, 40.
40. Yeah,
Like
30 or
both
40.
tracks.
No, no,
Both tracks.
yes, both tracks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
only 10 of us graduated. And then if you didn't pass, you would have to take one more semester to redo the thesis, basically. There was also, for example, we had a certain number of core classes we had to take and pass. If you didn't pass those, you had to wait until the course was offered again.
Offer it to
Because
you.
not all, right, because not all the courses are offered every semester. So then if you didn't pass, you would have to extend your program another half a year, another year, depending on what you could and couldn't pass.
So, but you can pretty much keep trying, right?
Honestly, I wouldn't know because I feel at some point they would have to be, you're not cut out for this. You should stop trying. I mean, or the university would be, yeah, give me your money. You know what I mean? So it depends. If you have professors who are actually, okay, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do this, then maybe they would stop
Okay.
you. But if they were, I don't care, then the university would be, yeah, I'll take your money, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so let's change the subject to something lighter. I was going to ask you about your thesis, but that's probably a separate episode or something because I remember
Yeah, it'll take
being,
too long.
yeah, that it's pretty interesting thing, and I learned something about the, Asian Americans part in the anyway. Anyway, so let's not talk about that, but I want to talk about something funner. So when you were there, you really took advantage of being in Europe. You traveled in Europe.
I did.
So tell me what countries, what places you've been to in Europe while you were in UK, because you did other traveling, but while you during that
Yeah.
time you were there, where did you go?
So I went to, I mean, I went to Scotland. Scottish people count that as a separate country. Um,
Okay.
I mean, technically it is. I went to Scotland, all over Scotland. I went to all over Italy, Spain, Germany. Austria, the Netherlands, France, and when we went, like when for my graduation, we went to Portugal. And then I went to
Hmm.
Malta, and I think that's it.
Did you
I
go
think
to
that's it.
Cayman
Yeah.
Islands? Wait, you
No.
went with me on the
Yeah,
cruise.
Cayman
Cayman
Islands is in the
Islands.
Caribbean, Mom.
Yeah, I know.
That's in the
I
Caribbean.
just yeah, sorry.
That's not in Europe. We're talking about traveling in Europe,
I know.
Mom.
I'm sorry. I don't know why. I guess because like you sent pictures from Malta and they're like beaches and stuff, and my head just went straight to the beach. But
Yeah.
anyway, so is there somewhere that you wish you would have gone but you did not?
Mm, maybe Belgium or Sweden or Switzerland. I don't know. I feel like I went to the bigger European countries,
Hmm.
visually bigger, just because I feel there's because instead of taking like, oh, like I'm gonna go to one city, one city, one city, I like was like, okay, one country, I'll travel to all these cities in this one country. And I think in my head, the bigger countries had more cities, so then I was covering more ground. So the smaller countries that I missed, I wish that I had gone to. Um, but mostly the cities I went to because I wanted to see famous works of art. And the
Mm.
most famous pieces or the biggest museums, like I prioritized that. That was my purpose for traveling in Europe was to see art more than anything.
So talking about museum, you went to the Louvre, right? When you were in
Yeah.
Paris. And how many hours or did you spend there? Do you recall?
I spent all day there. We went
All day?
so I went with one of my friends from China. We went when the museum opened. Literally, we were one of the first few people in and we left when it closed. Because we were only there for a couple of days
Mm.
because right after that we went to Malta actually. So we were
Mm.
there for a couple of days. That was the only day that we had planned to go to the Louvre. I don't know why we only planned one day, but we're going to do it all in one day. So we went literally from opening to closing. And then on certain days of the year the Louvre is open during the night past the regular hours. So we did one of those days where we could stay past regular hours so we could see everything basically. And we got a map and we made sure we started in one corner and made our way through. Obviously, because I'm a Capricorn. So I was like, okay, we got to do this. Um, yeah. And then, so we did that from morning until dusk, basically.
So is it worth it, all the traveling that you've done in Europe, or did you feel like there are these places I wish I didn't go because then I can save some money and it's not as amazing as I thought?
No,
Any place you well, okay, so is there any place I know you don't care about saving money, but is there any place that is not as amazing as you thought? That you have
mm,
high hopes, high expectations, but when you get there it's like, it's okay.
I don't think so because any place that I have had a poor how do I explain this? Like any trip that I've gone on that I felt like people would see as negative or a poor experience, I see as like, oh, that's a good story. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So there's merit in that trip, whether or not I like quote had fun, if that makes sense. Um,
yeah.
for example, going to the Philippines. You know, when I went to the Philippines, I was almost scammed by my hotel. I almost died in a sidecar. Wait,
You
have
did
I not
not
told you
tell
that
me that.
story?
No.
Um, yeah. But to some people, those are negative experiences. You see Karens on the internet being, I'll never go there again because blah, blah, blah. But for me, at least it's a good story and it's entertaining. Would I go back to the Philippines and get in that sidecar again? No, but it's a good story.
Wait. Was the sidecar driven by someone you know, or is it like public transportation? You pay somebody to drive you
Okay,
on a
okay.
sidecar?
I'll tell you the quick story, the quick version.
Okay.
So I was meeting my friend Jayshawn, who you know. We were meeting at a mall, and then he was like, "Oh, let's like go to this place. And I was like, okay, how are we going to get there? Are we going to take like a bus, taxi, blah, blah, blah. He was like, oh, like we can just hire like one of the motorcycle guys. So in the Philippines, there are guys who literally ride on motorcycles, and the taxi service, you can hop on the back of their motorcycle and pay them to
Is
take
it
you
like
to
a
the place.
Uber
No,
without regulation? Just some random dudes.
I mean, no, it's more like when you hail a taxi, but it's a random
Yeah.
guy on a motorcycle. And
So they're
he
not
just
regulated.
No, they're not. It's just a guy who has a motorcycle who decided to do this,
It's like me.
basically. And that's
like
how
me.
it
I
works in the
decided to
Philippines.
take my tractor out and say,
Yeah.
hey, you can hop on my tractor. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, oh, just pay me $5 or something like that. Okay. So this guy, I was with Jay Sean, and we were with his friend, Jay Sean's friend. Jay Sean's friend gets on the back of this motorcycle. The guy has a sidecar. Imagine like an egg, right? And it's covered on the top, but then there's like a hole where the door is, but there's no door. It's literally just a hole. And Jay Sean and I squeeze into the sidecar. He's a little boy, but I'm not a little girl, right? I have hips. So the only reason why we didn't go flying out of the sidecar was because my booty was keeping us in place, okay? There was no door, there was no seatbelts. And when I tell you that I almost died, because the way that this guy was whipping around the corners, my butt was keeping us in place, but our tops, like the top half of our bodies, were just swaying back and forth. I swear I hit my head. And the sidecar was so close to the ground, you could hear it scraping and you could see sparks, literally, from the street. Anyways, yeah, that's my story.
Well, I'm glad you didn't tell me at the time, because I would have been, you get your ass back home right now.
I mean, I was like, I need to get my ass back home right now. So.
Okay. Well, okay, so one final question before we go is, would you recommend American student to do study abroad for any kind of postgrad education,
100%.
master's or PhD?
100%. Yeah. How do I explain this? There is this consensus among people abroad that Americans are the worst tourists, and we are. It's because Americans are entitled. And that has a lot to do with history and society and all that. But I feel like a lot of the Americans that I know abroad have learned so much about the world and about other ways of life that it's easy to have conversations with them and see how isolated America really is. We don't like to think we're isolated because obviously we're economics, trading, whatever, hub, political, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of culture and social systems of interaction among human beings, just being a human being and how human beings are different, yes, America is very diverse in that way, but there's so much more beyond our little bubble that a lot of Americans don't really realize or understand until they move abroad. And for example, my close friend who came to Korea with me, Annie, she kind of had that realization when she was in Korea, and now she lives in the UK, and she's also been having those experiences. And like, obviously she was a great person before, and she's still a great person now, but I can definitely see how it has changed her perspective in a positive way of how she views the world and people. It just made her, she was a good person, but she's a better aware person now. And I wouldn't say that's
so it's
just
about
for
social
Americans.
awareness.
Right. I wouldn't say it's just for Americans either. Like, I've seen it with my friends from China who then go to other countries also. So I think anyone in general, just traveling outside of what is the norm for you is really beneficial for us as human beings and understanding how the world actually is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. So I did ask postgrad, but not undergrad. I feel like undergrad kids are maybe a little too young, as you said, the 18, 19-year-old. Maybe at least the first couple of years stay in the US and finish up, find a program that can finish to study abroad or something like that. Honestly, I see
maybe.
right now the 18, 19-year-old throwing them abroad. It's
Yeah,
kind of like
I was
scary.
gonna say, I've taught Gen Z kids and I'm teaching Gen Alpha kids. Those kids need to learn how to do their laundry and tie their shoes before they can, you know what I mean? My Gen Z students now are freshman, sophomore college students, which really freaks
Mm,
me out. But those kids are in college. I'm like, yeah, no. They need to be close to home learning how to do things for themselves before they go
mm-hmm.
abroad. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that. Definitely learn how
Yeah.
to be an adult before you go and be crazy somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, well, this is great. And thank you so much for sharing all these. And I do want to hear about your other travels because it seems like you didn't tell me everything at some point. But I'm glad after the fact now, it's probably a good thing that you tell me after the fact. I think maybe I would say, I'm guessing, I haven't heard all the stories. Obviously, you're pretty open with me, but if
yeah.
you tell me all the story at the time, I probably half the time I would just like get back here, get your ass back home right now, or I'm gonna go drag your ass back. So anyway, with that said, we're at time, and thank you again, Dannah, and for subbing for Whiskey and also sharing this experience with us. And
Of
I'm
course.
Ronit on the East Coast, and thank you again. And we are hopelessly unedited. And see you guys next. Well, how do you do this thing? I cannot do
Oh,
this.
it's
What
mom,
was
it's
it?
literally just you just cross your fingers.
Just this?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah.
I am
Okay,
so
wait.
lame.
Hearts, ready? Just copy me. Hearts.
Hard. Also like this. Okay. Okay. You're gonna
And then
teach me all these
this
stuff.
is the Gen Z heart. Yeah, you got it. You're
Wait,
good.
which heart is
You're
this
good.
one? Which heart is this
The
one?
the Koreans, they do this like cute like cheeks.
Oh, and then what was that one? The other one, this? And which one does this? What
All
does this one?
Asians? Asians?
Oh, I'm a bad Asian. Anyway. All right. See you guys ever next time. Bye.